Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are reacting to Richmond North of Richmond remix by Chris Webby. We just did the Dax one. We watched the original earlier. I hope you guys like this one. Let's get into this.
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
Yeah, give me freedom or give me death. To that we pledge allegiances. We the people had enough. It's time we aired our grievances against these treasonous demons. So raise the alarm, cause the pigs are fully taken over on this animal farm. Don't know anymore. This world's gotten too cold to ignore. Shit, is it 2023 or 1984? Thought police up at my door to open fire on me, but I'd rather die on my feet than survive on my knees. And please, we know how they looking at us from up at the top. The tougher they made it for us, the fucking tougher we got. They thought they'd keep us scared forever, but fuck it, we not. We'll send them back to north of Richmond in some cuffs or a box.
It's a damn shame.
Yeah, he's gonna be getting a visit. Well, yeah, all the same, different ways of putting it. The same message, if you will. I mean, he's a little harsher, obviously, than Dax certainly was. Dax was prayerful on it. And there's no prayerfulness in this, not yet, anyway. And the American people are a tough people, and they're a fair-minded people. And I mean, the core people that have survived and still fought and worked, that have tried to do right as much as possible, help their neighbors when they could, and when the need arose, and have an internal sense of justice.
Right.
And that the alarm bells are going off in the American people, in that group especially, that know that something is desperately wrong. And this is, he's certainly touching on that. And I mean, you think about it, because I mean, he's talking about 2023 or 1984, and he also mentioned Animal Farm, which is when the pigs took over the farm, and you think of Sam Adams' words and our founding fathers' words when they were ticked off at Britain and the king and Parliament, but especially the king, for just merely what they were doing is not adhering to the laws of the land that in fact were over the American subjects at that point, right? The colonies were under the protection of those laws. Those laws are supposed to be to protect the people, but they were being abused by them. And what they do, they went up across against the strongest military in the world. I mean, they used to say the sun never set on the English Empire, right? On England, because they had everywhere. They were everywhere, and they were huge. And what happened? Little pissant, colonies, 13 of them, rallied up and just said, "That's enough." Lexington, Concord, Bunker Hill, and people stood up, and people who had actually served in the English Army. General John Stark of New Hampshire, for one, and fought in the French and Indian Wars as an English officer, stood up and said, "No, that's enough." And what were they standing against? An illegitimate, lawless government.
Right.
And they become illegitimate the minute they start stepping outside of the laws. And then, so what do? When they step outside of those laws, they start persecuting. It turns to financial persecution, then it turns to physical with guns and whatever else, jail. And we see that happening a lot. And it happens a lot more than we even see. And he's touching on that, and that's I think the vein he's pointing at, and just saying, hey, where's the Sam Adams guys? we're those guys who stood up, and just said, hey, you know what, that's enough. I mean, he's certainly saying it.
Right.
Interesting.
Right. Here we go.
What the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men know for Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
Behind the politicians, there's a far more sinister villain that's power driven. Only answer to money is their religion. They controlling the way that we live in, keeping us mentally stuck in a prison, so that the fire they know is rebellion never can spread whenever it's risen. But they've been seeing us waking up, and now they fucking afraid, as we the people get to seeing through their fucking charade. We're being played by these elites who would rather see us enslaved, as they lead us by the hand where the land's dug with a grave. And they could kill our character through stories they publish, or they'll just murder us and brand it as suicide to the public, or an accidental overdose. Print the story, run it, say it's fact, so people trust it, accept it, and move on from it. But it's time to pick a side and get to striking a nerve. And any way we're able, I'm fighting this fight with my words. And if they keep pushing, then fuck it, we inciting the purge. And just to think, all we wanted was the rights we deserve.
It's a damn shame.
You just noticed the roof on the building behind him. I don't know if that's supposed to be the house or the barn, and but it's all the plastic that's all torn.
Yeah,
and, it's just an interesting picture. And the guy's out smoking, right? Not politically incorrect, and and he's probably a working guy. Well, another politically incorrect, and we have, even you and I, Mac, there are words that we would use normally in conversation that we are, because of all the pressure that's come on that we've heard and just over watching the news and hearing people speak, that we don't even use, right? I mean, when we would say a word, sometimes we'll change it in our mind before we get to the word and change it because, all the alarm bells are going to go off, and they're not bad words. They're not even bad thoughts. I mean, the word patriot has been turned into the description of
shit. Most people that talk to me these days, most people that talk to me these days will only talk to me in the most quiet of places, because I don't hold back in public. I just say it as it is. I will use the words that we used to use in the 90s, like, even using terms like, calling someone a faggot doesn't actually mean that they're gay. Like, I still will use it today.
And then your friends.
And and they'll be like, you'll see them like, can't say that. And I'm like, stop being such a faggot.
Yeah.
And then I said, if you just use the word, it starts to lose its meaning.
Well, that's what they're doing.
These words, just use them. Yeah. Everybody, there should be no restriction on the words. The more if everybody used them, the less everybody would be like, oh my God, we have to hide from them. We have to hide from these words. No, you're not going to hide from these words. Like, just use the words and they'll lose their power. The words only have power because everybody's giving them power. You can't say this. It's such a horrible thing. So if you say it, all of a sudden that word has this power over everybody involved.
Well, that's, I touched on it earlier about nationalists, being a nationalist, right? That's one of the new descriptives of dangerous, very dangerous and violent people in anti-democracy. And I mean, they've changed our republic for a democracy, and the terms, even the politicians call us a democracy, ones who damn well know that the Constitution guarantees in several states a Republican form of government. Right. And so what they do is they curb our language at times. We don't even really realize it, and because they keep changing it. And the problem is well, like certainly with my age, is I know what the words are, I know what the words mean, and I know what we used to say, and most of it I still say, and but the youth doesn't. they think that words mean something else. I mean, what's LGBTQ XY or whatever squared 12? I don't even know. What the hell is all that horse shit? You're either homosexual or you're not. Okay, there you have it.
Right.
There you have it.
Just leave it there.
Huh?
I said just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's if you're in that crowd, you're in that crowd. Do I support that walk? No, but if that's the choice you want to make, God gave us all the freedom of choice. It's a bad choice on your part, and I'm going to tell you it's a bad choice on your part, and you're putting yourself in harm's way. But am I going to hate you for it? No. But let me tell you something. If somebody attacks my kids or my grandkids,
or tries to
convince them to be one, or to go have some kind of transgender surgery, now you're running up against somebody who you're going to wish you weren't running up against. And because there are lines of that, and I mean, there is such a thing as child abuse,
right?
And they're preaching child abuse. They're teaching it in the schools, or the government's funding it and allowing it. Hospitals or practicing it, and churches are supporting it. Not all of them, but some. And it's just and these are the. I mean, if when you listen to the words of the song, and even the guys who are like Dax and such, and Chris that are adding their slant on it, if you will, in between, they're really touching on the same subjects. And because those truths are obvious to them. My grandma used to say, is you got to have horse sense. And, because horse has pretty good sense, and which is common sense, really.
Right.
And we've lost that as a people in a big way in this country. Right. And without it, you don't have a foundation to make good choices on. And look where we're at. We got a guy standing up against a tree smoking a cigarette with a plastic holy roof on I'm not sure what it is back there, trying to preach some common sense. And you can only push us so far.
Let's go ahead and finish this on there.
And if they keep pushing, then fuck it. We inciting the purge. And just to think, all we wanted was the rights we deserve.
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me. People like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true. But it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an whole soul. Richmond, north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. Your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, cause the rich man, cause the rich man.
And there it is.
There it is. Hey, interesting. Is he in Connecticut?
I have no idea. If he responds to us and we can get him on the podcast, that would be pretty cool.
I lived in Connecticut for like 9 years, and it's funny because I lived there. Me being who I am, and it's the Constitution state, right? It says on their license plate. And I addressed the state senate once, and standing ovation. And I was giving them a lesson on the Constitution, and they've got it on their plate, which is it's like Sam Adams really was in Massachusetts. I mean, really, you sure that's where he was? He wasn't out in Idaho or somewhere or Arizona. Yeah, pretty wild. Good job.
All right, Chris. Good video. And for everyone else, if you guys like this, comment down below, like and subscribe, and see you guys on the next one.
Semper Fi.